Okay, good morning from northwest London. We're in Ruislip, and here is a garden office that we built for our client Barry, who's going to be working from home ongoing. So after the pandemic, he's been advised he's going to be working home permanently. So we came along and have installed this garden room. Still waiting on the doors, but there's a separate video on the actual build of the garden room, which will be on the YouTube channel. But anyway, so today's quite an interesting day because the brief for this garden room is to have an air conditioning unit. So we have HomeTek are now a licensed air conditioning installer, so we're licensed now for installing these. You need to be licensed because you're dealing with gases that can damage the ozone layer and cause climate change. So it is actually a licensed profession, but we're actually licensed in that now, so we're allowed to install these. So anyway, so on the inside, this is the inside unit. It's called the evaporator. This is a Mitsubishi unit, and comes with a remote control, so you can adjust the temperature with the remote control. So the evaporator unit is what's going to provide the heat and the cooling to the garden room. So that's going to be mounted up here. So because these garden rooms are so well insulated, this is going to cope so well with cooling it and heating it as well in the winter months. It won't take much heat to warm this place up. More or less body heat would actually do it, but anyway, this unit is going to keep it at a nice temperature for Barry to work all through the year. So this, as I say, this is the inside unit. That's going to be mounted up there. This is the evaporator. There's a whole load of cables and pipes to run around to the outside unit. And here is the outside unit, which is called the condenser. Again, Mitsubishi. It's got an isolator switch there, which is going to be mounted up there, so you can isolate it to service it, etc. There's a couple of concrete blocks here, which are going to be dug into the ground there and concreted in. And the whole lot's going to sit over there, and then it will work away there to heat and cool the garden office as required. So anyway, going to make a start now, and I'll update you through the progress. So I'm going to start by mounting the evaporator bracket up there, and creating a hole for all the pipework to run out, and get these concrete blocks in for the condenser. So that is the plan today, and hopefully by the end of play today we'll have the air conditioning unit up and functioning. There is a bit of going to the actual build of the garden room. There is a separate video on that, but we're held up at the moment because the window and door supplier is being very, very slow at supplying the doors. I think there's nationwide shortages. There's a set of aluminium French doors, anthracite coloured, and an aluminium window to go in there, which we haven't been able to get a hold of yet, but hopefully we should have that soon and we can finish this one off. But anyway, so I'll update you as we go through the day, and you'll be able to see how the air conditioning unit's installed. Okay, so just a little quick video update. So the condenser's now on some concrete blocks inside there. That's all mounted in place, and got all the prep work done for the evaporator unit to be fitted up there. So we've got a hole through for the pipework to go out through. So there's certain clearances you have to put in here to make sure that you can service the unit in the future, and etc., and for the unit to work effectively. So we're in the clear there. Same with this unit as well. There's certain clearances that you have to have for servicing. So so next job is to connect up the isolator switch right here, and then going to be running the pipework to get this thing up and running. I'm going to advise the client that this bush here needs to be maintained because there's a big fan unit in the front of this unit, and you need to have clear airflow for this system to work. So anyway, so that's just a quick update, and hopefully we'll get this thing up and running today. Okay, so now at this stage, just done all the electrical connections. So all the electrical connections there are made. Coming up to the isolator switch, I'm going to leave the isolator switch right to the end to do. I've got the drain hose temporarily up there, and main evaporator now is up on the wall and all the pipe work is through, so that'll be the finished result. Everything's cabled up now, so the interconnecting cable between the condenser and the evaporator is connected, and that's all set up there. So now I'm going to do a bit of pipe work and see if we can see how we go on the pipe work, and maybe get it connected in between the condenser and the evaporator. So there we go at the moment. I'll update you as we progress. Okay, welcome on top of the roof. So what I'm doing now is, as you can see the other side, is where all the pipework for the air conditioning unit comes through. So we've got 3/8 and 1/4 inch pipework here. So I'm using these flaring tools which create the flares. So basically this pipework has to be flared to make a connection onto here. So creating this with the flaring tools. So as you can see, that's a good flare. Just got to clean that joint out a bit, because anyway, so as you can see, the flare, get the camera in the right position, is take up the entire of the nuts. So that is a good flare, so happy with that one. So the flaring tools go on the end of a combi drill and they spin around. That's the 1/4 inch one, which is just after doing the 1/4 inch pipe work. And they spin around and they create the junction that you tighten up onto the other side of the flare nuts, onto the thread, and pulls the pipe in and creates a seal. So I've done the 1/4 inch and the 3/8 there, and just checking them over, and I'll tighten them back up again. And once they're tightened up, then I'll just check the torque settings, and then I can start running these over to the condenser units. So just finishing off this part here, and then I'll be able to insulate and bring all the pipework, the drain hose, etc. over, and then connect up to the condenser. Okay, once again on the 1/4 inch, I have a good flare. Let's take up the full amount of the flare nuts. Okay, so right, I've got all the pipes taped up, all the insulation in place, and I've just got them hanging down towards the condenser over there. So I'm going to call it a day for today, and tomorrow I'm going to connect up to the condenser, get a vacuum on the system, and eventually release the gases and get the whole air conditioning up and running. So that's it for today. Drain hose is running down there, needs to be tied up a little bit, but anyway, so that's it until tomorrow. Okay, good morning from Ruislip, and back here again. So well, let's just got here a little while ago, and all I've done so far is just cut out the copper coils, because they were way too long obviously, and insulated a bit more of the pipework right down to the bottom, measured it somewhat, left the coils a little bit longer. So I've got to do some flare joints on there now, which are going to connect into the service valves here. So that's one of the next jobs to get done, and finish off the electrical, vacuum it out, and then release the gases. This air conditioning unit's got the R32 refrigerant inside, so need to have a bit of a tidy up in there when I'm done. But anyway, so I think next really is to get these flare joints done, ready for connection to the condenser. So that's the next job, so I'll check in with you in a second. Okay, so as you can see, I've just got the vacuum pump and the gauges ready, but all the connections here are done now. So the gas and liquid line are flared and connected. So I'm just going to run a vacuum now and get all the moisture and everything out the lines, and then finally commission the system. So we're getting there anyway, so just going to run the vacuum now, and that will take a while to run through, and after that then commission it up. Okay, so now running a vacuum on the system to remove any moisture out, so this is going to take a while to run. Probably leave this for a while and then come back to it. And so getting close now to releasing the gases from the condenser to the evaporator, and finish off the electrical, and then I think we should be done. Okay, as you can see now, we're up and running. Everything's working as it should do. The compressor at the moment now is just blowing out. As you can see, it's blowing this bush a bit, but it's relatively quiet. It's not wouldn't annoy me if I was listening to that next door. I think it's about 55 decibels, and this morning I was in the shop actually, I saw a desk fan and it said that was 69 decibels, so this is quieter than a desk fan. But anyway, so that's on there, and the inside unit's working as well, obviously. So at the moment it's on heat, it's switched on to heat the place up. So in essence, the evaporator and the condenser have swapped roles, so now really the condenser's on the inside and the evaporator's on the outside. So we can probably demonstrate that now in a second. So what we'll do is just have a look at, right, so ambient temperature, just say if the cedar outside. Well, that's directly in the sun, so that's probably not a great. Let's go somewhere where the sun is not shining on. And we're showing about 24, 25 degrees, 24.9. I don't know if you can see that on the camera there, but anyway, it's 24.6 degrees. So inside on the coils, again, if you can see that in the camera, but showing 52, 53, 54 degrees, 55 degrees, 56. So it's blowing out at 56 degrees Celsius. It's quite a nice warm breeze here. So really for this garden room, it's going to be complete overkill for the heating in here, because it's going to be extremely powerful for heating a room of this size with the amount of insulation that's in the walls. So anyway, so let's have a look at the condenser outside, which is now the evaporator. Let's get a temperature reading first of all off the coils outside. So it's kind of stabilised at 19.6, 19.5, 19.4 degrees. Let's try in at the fan. 17 degrees, 16.8, 16 degrees, 15.6, 15, 14 is dropping. 13.7, 12 degrees, 11.6, 9 degrees, 8 degrees, and that, if you're wondering what that noise was, that was a rabbit. Inside this garden they have rabbits. They've got all these tunnels around the place, so the rabbits can go from cage to cage through all these tunnels. And if you want to see the rabbits, I think they might be in here. Oh, there they are. Charlie and Chocolate, or well, I can't remember his name actually. Right, there they are. Right, back to the air conditioning. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is bring out the thermal camera, and we can see what the thermal camera is showing on this. A lovely warm breeze coming off here anyway. It's going to be nice heat for Barry in the winter. And in the reverse, nice cooling as well for him in the summer when it gets hot. So I'm just going to break out the thermal camera now, and we'll see what the heat's like on the thermal. Okay, so here we are at the thermal camera. You can see like the ambient temperature in here. Quite warm over that side. But anyway, this is quite a bad test because we don't have any windows or doors here yet. But anyway, let's have a look at the air conditioning units and just see what we have. Okay, so zeroing the target, 40, 41, trying to keep it steady is quite difficult. (41°). Let's go a bit closer. Okay, so we're approximately at 45 degrees. It's blowing out there at the evaporator now, the condenser. And let's have a look at the you can see everything here. You've got the sun up there, which, you know, probably not good to point the thermal camera at that. But you can see the cedar with the sun. The cedar's showing at 31, 32 degrees. Anyway, let's have a look at the condenser. See, the condenser is very cool now, because it's removing it's been on cooling there just about 10-15 minutes ago, so it's probably in the process of heating up. So it's pulling the heat from the outside and heating up the inside. So I think if we watch this for a few minutes, it would heat up. Let's just have a look in at the fan. Okay, right, so I think that's enough with the thermal camera on the heat mode. I'm going to turn it into cooling mode, and we'll see what the cooling is like. Okay, so we're back inside now, and just going to, on the remote control, and turn it on to cooling mode. So let's change the mode over to cooling. I'm going to drop the temperature right down. Okay, so temperature's dropped down, and the air conditioning unit should start turning into the cooling mode. So I'm just going to pause for a few moments and come back to you once the inverter's switched over and switched over to cooling mode, and then we can get the thermal imaging camera out and the infrared thermometer and check to see what the air conditioning unit's doing. Okay, back in now, and feel the cold air coming out the AC. So nice. So just having a look now at the don't know if you're not too sure if you can see that now off the camera itself, but I'm showing about 3 degrees is the temperature inside the coils here. 2.8, 2.9, 3 degrees. Okay, so it's on high power mode, and you can adjust the fan speed. This is blowing quite well, so you probably don't want it as fan on high speed, but I'm just doing that for demonstration purposes. You can obviously have that if it's really hot and you want to cool it down quickly. Anyway, so let's have a look at the condenser outside, and we should see the reverse happening now. So let's see. Right, I'm showing 30 degrees. at the condenser. So now what it's doing is removing the heat from the inside and just, you know, moving it outside to the condenser. So that's what the unit's doing now at the moment. And let's just have a look at the fan. About 20 degrees or so at the fan. About 12 degrees there on the actual condenser itself, approximately. But anyway, so let's bring out the thermal camera, and obviously it's working in reverse now. It's in the air conditioning mode now, so reversed what we had before. So let's see what the thermal imaging camera shows. Okay, so there's the evaporator inside, and let's just see. Well, you can obviously see now that the outlet there is cooler than the area around it. Being a darker colour, it's cooler. Anyway, let's just go back to there and see if we can line this up. Okay, we're just getting down to about 11 degrees. So I'm just standing right in front of it. It's a lovely cool breeze just coming through. Let me just check. So we're showing about 12 degrees 11 maybe on the thermal imaging camera. The infrared thermometer is showing 2 to 3 degrees. So anyway, it's certainly cooling, that's for certain. Obviously, the longer you leave this on, the cooler it's getting. And again, let's go outside and have a look at the condenser. Okay, so what the unit now is doing is it's removing the heat from the outside and it's dumping it to the... So what it's doing is it's removing the heat from the inside and dumping it outside. So you can see the condenser now is hot. So it's pulling the heat out of the inside of the garden room and dumping it outside here. That's what these systems do. So let me just see what my thermometer is showing. My infrared thermometer is showing about 18-19 degrees there. As you can see, we're showing about 23-24 degrees. So anyway, so it's taking the hot air from inside and it's dumping it outside. And obviously this is reverse of what the previous test we done, where the roles were reversed. And in the previous test, it's very similar to an air source heat pump. They're working the same principles, where it's taking the heat from the outside, whatever heat there is, and it's pushing it to the inside of the room. So anyway, so that completes this test. Okay, so really that's the AC installed. So just do a bit more testing on it, and it's going to be held off a little bit here until we can get the doors, but there's a few other bits and pieces that I can do to get it ready. Skirting boards will probably be next, but that will be on the other video series of the actual garden room build. But the AC is up and running here, and I'm sure it's going to be a very powerful unit for this room. So it's not an oversized, so it's not an overly big office, and but I'm sure it's going to do a fantastic job at heating and cooling and dehumidifying this office. So anyway, so if you like this video, please subscribe, thumbs up if you can, and we'll catch you on the next one.